My name is Christopher Bruner. I am here with Mayor Schielke to talk about the history of Batavia. Mayor, thank you for spending some time with me today.
Well, thank you for coming. My pleasure to talk to you.
Why did you want to become mayor?
Well, I've been the mayor for 28 years. That's a long time ago. And I was first elected. And I don't know if I really wanted to be mayor to begin with, but at the time, there was a number of people who decided they wanted me to become the mayor. I was pretty young at the time, but I had people all over town that were talking to me about running for mayor. And the one that probably talked me into it was the Batavia Middle School is now named after Sam Rotolo, who was principal of the Batavia Junior High School for a number of years. And he had been my principal when I was your age, and I was over at Old Louise White School in elementary school. And one afternoon in the winter of 1981, I get a call from Mr. Rotolo telling me to come to his office. Now, I'm 32 years old at this point in time, but he wanted me to come. So I goes over there, and he shuts the door, and he proceeds to tell me that he thinks that I need to run for mayor, and he's signing on to this movement. So I tell people he's the one that's responsible for this. He talked me into running. So I think by becoming elected mayor, you have an opportunity to do good things for your town. And you have to run for the office of mayor, I think, for the right reasons, because number one, the job doesn't pay very much. It's a part-time job with a part-time salary, and it will demand as much time as you're willing to give it. And I sometimes find myself down here spending anywhere from 40 to 60 hours a week being the mayor, and it's a part-time job. And so I have another job. I work as a realtor, so I can kind of move back and forth between my two jobs. But the job in a town like Batavia, where there's a lot of new development and a lot of things are going on, and there's just a lot of meetings to go to, you can spend a lot of time on a daily basis being the mayor. And as I say, many weeks it's 40 to 60 hours I spend being the mayor.
How long have you lived in Batavia?
Well, I'm 60 years old, and I've lived in Batavia all my life, and my family's been here for an extended period beyond that. I'm the 6th generation of my family to live in Batavia. My first ancestor arrived here in 1835, and he came from upstate New York in a kind of a rural area to the east of Syracuse. And he arrived out here, and he had several sons with him. And of course, it was a very small area at the time, and one of his sons ended up marrying the daughter of Judge Isaac Wilson, who's the man who named Batavia the town and whose Wilson Street is named after. So one of my ancestors was kind of connected into the Wilson family, so that's kind of my family lineage. But my father, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, her father before him, but there's 6 generations of us. And at my house, I have pictures of all the 6 generations of Batavians in a frame hanging on the wall showing the start of our connection to Batavia in 1835. So the town was originally founded in 1833, so we were here pretty much near the beginning. And so that's kind of the way the whole thing kind of started, and the family's just been here ever since.
What was the oldest part of Batavia and who lived there?
Well, you have to appreciate that development always came from the east, because that's where the original pilgrims landed and whatever have you. So people began to move slowly east, and then with the invention and expansion of the railroad, it became easier for people to get to this area. My ancestor, who came here in 1835, came by covered wagon, and threw all of his belongings in the back of the wagon and made his way here. Now, I don't know how long that must have taken him. Unfortunately, he didn't keep any diary or anything, but the oldest part of Batavia is probably the area kind of on the northeast side of town, and the very oldest site of a first house in Kane County. It's marked, if you go out on East Wilson Street, past the new fire station, about 2 blocks, you get out there by the Heritage Woods Senior Citizen Apartment Complex. There's a stone right alongside the road there that marks the site of the first housing in Batavia, and there's a creek that runs right alongside of the Heritage Woods, and the house was built there to be next to the creek. And the site of the actual house is probably back north of Heritage Woods, back near where there's a railroad track back there. And Christopher Payne, who was the original settler, who Judge Wilson bought his claim out, came here in 1832, and the Black Hawk Indian War was going on, and so he didn't stay. He just kind of staked his claim, but then left and went back to Naperville for a year, and then came back in 1833, and then a number of people began to follow him once the Indian threat was kind of removed from the area.